for me personally, boldness comes from knowing who you are, accepting who you are, which also takes emotional intelligence and emotional health. So accepting who you are, which includes strengths and weaknesses, we all have them, freedoms and limitations, strengths and superpowers, and applying who you are fully, authentically, and genuinely. Welcome to the EQ for Entrepreneurs podcast. Like most business owners, you already know you need good business and marketing strategies to scale and be profitable. But at some point, you've hit the dreaded wall where you feel stuck and frustrated. EQ for Entrepreneurs is for business owners and leaders who are honest enough to admit that they just might be the ones holding their business back and are brave enough to change that.
We're Noble and Kathy, and every week we're having candid conversations about all things emotional intelligence and how growing that has allowed us to get out of our own way and is radically transforming both our businesses and our personal lives. This is the secret sauce strategy for modern entrepreneurs who are tired of hustling without seeing results and want to grow a business and a life that they love.
What is going on, entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers? This episode is on boldness. Now, this may be a shorter episode, and it was coming from a question that I saw on a Facebook group on how does the word bold hit you, and how can we be more bold in what we're doing? It's kind of the gist of this particular Facebook post. Started to think about it. And let me give you guys my answer here shortly. Thank you guys so much for watching this on YouTube, our YouTube channel, EQ for Entrepreneurs, or listening to this on our podcast, EQ for Entrepreneurs. Thank you for rating, reviewing, sharing, subscribing. It totally means a ton. Seriously, when we get that feedback, it's super helpful. And thank you for sharing, those of you that have shared how you're growing. I have just so many different areas that I have proof of growth in so many different areas, even like this week, literally. And it's been so exhilarating. In fact, I think the recent episodes, the last 2 or 3 different episodes have been on kind of some of my personal proof of growth experiences, results, outcomes, transformations that have happened as a result of my emotional growth journey. And I'm 4 years deep, y'all, and still getting massive breakthroughs and stuff. Massive. You know, my productivity has increased, y'all, just in the past, month, I'd say. Just in the past month, my productivity has gone up exponentially. It's been amazing. And it would be hard for me to believe it unless it happened to me. So I'm telling y'all, man, please get healthier emotionally. You are worth it. Your family is worth it. Your children are worth it. The people in your life, your company, your staff, your employees. Oh man, I could give you some more stories. Some very successful people that I know that are still very emotionally unhealthy. So do not let success fool you, y'all. Do not let somebody's position in a job, in a company, in life mislead you or seduce you to thinking that, oh man, they've got everything together because they're making more money than me, or they're higher rank than me, or they have a bigger position in the company than me, or their company is bigger than my company. All this little comparison game ridiculousness that we play so often, which is, I feel like, so much part of human nature, where it's this whole comparison. Well, how am I better? How are they better? How am I worse? How are they worse? To try to somehow justify our own self-worth. as a recovering people pleaser addict, now that I know who I am and whose I am and am emotionally healthier so that I'm not self-sabotaging and coming from this place of self-condemnation and this place of not being enough and not knowing who I am and not knowing the strengths that I bring and the aspects and the qualities and traits that I bring to the table. Man, that's brutal, y'all. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. It's no fun. It takes energy. It sucks energy out of you, and it leaves you in a very unhealthy, unproductive, ineffective place. And you are worth getting healthier emotionally. Another guy I talked to today, man, sucking. He's sucking. And I empathize, man. My heart goes out. So many men and women are walking around emotionally hurting. And I told this guy, I'm like, look, bro, like, what do I say? Almost every episode now over the past few months, unaddressed emotional issues do not get better over time. They actually compound. Unaddressed emotional issues do not get better over time. And what were his friends telling him? Oh man, bounce, bro, bounce. Well, of course your friends are telling you that because they're all emotionally unhealthy too. And that's easy, right? The easy, quick answer, easy, quick fix is just bounce. Avoid the problem. Avoid the issue. The only minor detail is, what's the issue? You look in the mirror. So you think it's right for in our brains, the way we justify, the way we rationalize to ourselves on why the situation is what it is. It definitely can't be me. It's definitely the other person. Now, I absolutely believe that it always takes two to tango. So do I feel like, oh my gosh, I am the sole source of all the world's problems and issues? Well, I used to, but no, of course not. We're all walking around hurt, broken, all that kind of stuff. But y'all, God can use our brokenness and our issues for the better. Look, I tell people this all the time. The fact that I am teaching emotional intelligence, like if you don't believe there's a God, that should be a good start in the old developing your faith direction, because I am the last guy that should be talking about emotional health and emotional intelligence if it weren't for my own health journey and transformation, y'all. Like, I'm talking not warm, fuzzy, oh man, I'm more in touch with my feelings. And I am, but now my feelings and emotions aren't controlling me as much as they used to be. Before, I was completely controlled and at the mercy of whatever feeling and emotion I was experiencing at the time. And sometimes I still am. So please don't mistake what I'm saying here. I have not arrived. I'm not coming from this place of, well, I have my PhD from Harvard and let me tell you all my amazing wisdom of all my years of research. No, that's not where I'm coming from. I am still learning alongside every single one of you. And so this is anyway, anyway, y'all, unaddressed emotional issues. Please, you are worth healing, facing, confronting your emotional injuries. They are not small, minute things. This guy I was talking with today, he has been through it. He has been through it, y'all. And my heart goes out. And what's crazy is he walks around acting like, oh, dude, come on, it's no big deal. Bro, no, what has happened to you in your life is a massive deal. It is massive. And anybody who has had the same or similar experiences would also be hurting tremendously. Even though this gentleman is a very, very grown adult. You know what I mean? Like, this is not someone who's new, young, off the street, young whippersnapper who's only been around for 20 years or so, 30 years. Like, this is an older gentleman, and he is to this day still being impacted. The reality is we all are. We're all being impacted by all the emotional baggage that we're burying in the basement that we think is not impacting us and affecting us. It absolutely is still impacting and affecting us, whether or not you're aware of it, whether or not you even realize it's happening. I'm telling you, it is impacting you. It's impacting your friendships, your relationships, your marriage, your parenting, your business, your finances, your faith. It's impacting every single area. So anyway, that was my rant because I've been, everyone, man, I'm just telling you, you're worth it, y'all. You are worth getting your healing. You're worth working through this. And listen, if you need professional help, get it. Get professional help. Seek out a counselor, seek out a therapist, seek out a psychologist, whatever you think you need, seek it out. Now, if you don't click, if you don't dig them, if they're uncomfortable, if you don't feel safe around them, you don't trust them, whatever, then go find someone else. But don't give up and say, oh man, that's like me, during phases of my life, well, working out doesn't work out. So I'm just not going to work out. No, that's not true. That's not true. But when I'm eating a gallon of Ben and Jerry's every day and 2 bags of chips and salsa and soda and stuff every single day, well, that's probably going to be my default, is I'm going to err on not working out because it's very uncomfortable and very embarrassing to work out when I haven't, darkened the doors of a gym in months or years. And so anyway, just be careful about the stories you're telling yourself about getting your own emotional healing. Be very careful and very aware of the stories. And that, in fact, that's a great idea to do, is do an emotional growth journey audit of what emotions are you telling yourself about, what words, what stories are you telling yourself about growing yourself emotionally. Okay, boldness, y'all. We're talking about boldness. What do you think about that? What does it take to be bold? Who do you know is bold? What does boldness look like? What are the qualities and traits and characteristics of boldness? Does boldness even matter? Is it a worthwhile trait or quality or characteristic? Is it necessary in business? Is it necessary in family? Is it necessary in our culture today? What role does boldness play in today's society? Is it a value? What value does boldness play? Where does boldness come from? What's the origin story of boldness? This is money. Are there healthy versions of boldness? Are there unhealthy versions of boldness? Would you know what right looks like in terms of boldness if you saw it? Are there genuine, authentic versions of boldness? Disingenuous, inauthentic, or unauthentic versions of boldness? So again, saw the Facebook post. This is how I responded. And for those of y'all watching on YouTube, I've got my notes here, so I'm going to be looking down here. So if you see me looking down, that's what's going on. For me personally, boldness comes from knowing who you are, which, a quick parenthesis here, quick pause. Knowing who you are, in my opinion, now coaching for many, many, many years, coaching specifically in the area of emotional health and emotional intelligence more recently, I will tell you, it takes emotional intelligence to even be able to answer that question by itself. Knowing who you are. I didn't know who I was. In fact, in full transparency, I'm just now starting to learn who I truly am, because I have been a people pleaser addict for 98% of my life. So when I am looking to please everybody and get everybody else's input, opinions, perspectives, thoughts, And then it comes around to me. Well, I just pick, well, who am I going to please the most by making this decision? Because, these 5 people like COA A, that means course of action, like course of action A, or want me to choose course of action A. These 3 people want me to choose B, and these 2 people want me to choose 1. So, man, if there's a way for me to make a decision to please all of them, that would be my preference as a people pleaser addict. But if I can't get that decision, then let me go for the majority, for the most people that will be happy. That's how I used to live my life. That's how I used to make every single decision. I had no idea how exhausting it is to be a people pleaser addict. No idea how emotionally and physically and mentally exhausting it is to be a people pleaser addict, until, thank God, over the past 4 years, I have been recovering. I'm a recovering people pleaser addict. And I'd say 90% of my people pleasing addiction has gone away. And there's still, I'm not going to be naive to think that I've got rid of all of it. I think I still have some. In fact, it just poked out its head recently. Last week, it popped up, and I was very disappointed and bummed out until someone said, "Dude, look how far you've come. Like, stop being so negative and judging yourself all the time and saying should. Like, try to stay away from the should stuff, Noble, and look how far you've come. Okay, so you still have some more work to do. Great. Well, tell me what human being on the planet does not have more work to do? We all do." So she was like, "Dude, just chill, bro. Like, look at the work you've done and embrace that and celebrate that and keep growing. That's it. If you format or frame your growth journey at how much you still have to grow, and you have this negative mindset and this negative judgmental mindset to yourself, to your own growth, man, it's going to be brutal, and it's going to slow down your growth. Oh, but I've ran, let's say if I'm running a marathon and I run 18 miles, but I still have 21 miles, but I still have 2-3 more miles to go. Well, I'm a loser. I suck because I've only ran 18 and I still have, 3 more miles to go. Is that right? Is that 21 miles? 24 miles? You can see how many marathons I've run, because I don't even remember what a marathon length is. But anyway, you guys get the point. And so that was what's happening. What was happening to me today, y'all. Today I was doing this. I was beating myself up, like, well, I've ran 18 miles, but I still have 3 more miles to go. Like, I suck. I wasn't saying I suck, but like, dude, I just can't believe it. I screwed up again. Like, and the lady's like, dude, like, just chill. You've gone 18 miles. Look how far. Anyway. So that first step, knowing who you are, in my opinion, takes some self-awareness, which is part of emotional intelligence. So that's number 1. For me personally, boldness comes from knowing who you are, accepting who you are, which also takes emotional intelligence and emotional health. So accepting who you are, which includes strengths and weaknesses. Strengths and weaknesses, we all have them. Freedoms and limitations, strengths and superpowers, and applying who you are fully, authentically, and genuinely in alignment with your core values, with your identity. And it takes, again, in my opinion, a tremendous amount of emotional health and emotional intelligence to be boldness, to be bold, again, with maximizing and optimizing that said boldness, rather than, so check this out. So, I said here, in order for all that to happen, it takes emotional healthiness from growing one's emotional intelligence. Now, check this out. I used to be bold coming from an emotionally unhealthy place, and it would often fall flat because it was so wrapped up. Well, I was all out of alignment. And I could say, oh, but I was bold for the Lord. I was bold for whatever I was being bold about. just bold, living my life boldly. The whole time I'm being bold back then, I was completely coming from an emotionally unhealthy place where my identity was wrapped. And I would have told you, oh, my identity is in the Lord. My identity is in my faith. Where in reality, my identity was in everybody else and what everyone else thought of me. People pleasing addiction. And so as long as I was getting validated and affirmed by everyone else around me, oh man, you kidding me? I'd be the boldest guy on the planet. I mean, I could, kick in some doors and just give my presence and boldness and all this kind of stuff, while inside being a very little, small, very emotionally unhealthy man, an emotional 5-year-old. But boy, on the outside, oh man, yeah, this guy's bold. But if I think it's very, this is a whole nother episode. It's very, I'll say, is this right? Let me say, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong here, what you guys think about this, but the healthier I get emotionally, the easier it is for me to see emotionally unhealthiness. The healthier I get emotionally, the easier it is for me to see the emotional unhealthiness in other people. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not judging. It's just I can see it more easily. In fact, I have more empathy now than I've ever had before, because I was that person. I was that emotional 5-year-old literally just 5 years ago, not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago, I'm talking 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I was an emotional 5-year-old. So you want to talk about empathy, man. I have got empathy for everyone else that is either hasn't started their journey out or is just starting their journey out. Like, I empathize with you, with them, because that was me just a handful of years ago. So if you're emotionally unhealthy, you may be less adept at seeing the unhealthiness in other people. But now that I'm getting healthier emotionally, man, I can see it very, very quickly now, which there are a lot of blessings for that. Just being able to have more discernment. My discernment is increasing because I'm getting healthier emotionally. And so now my boldness comes across completely differently, because I'm coming from a much healthier place emotionally. Game changer. For those of you that listen to my last episode, the 81 pitches to media, I was bold, but it was healthy. I wasn't coming from a place of needing to get validated and affirmed. I wasn't coming from this place of emotional neediness, like, oh man, look at how bold. No, it's just boldness. I feel like has come. It's almost an extension of getting healthier emotionally, because I'm every single day that I'm growing emotionally, I'm getting more and more comfortable in my skin. I'm getting more and more comfortable with who God made me, my strengths and weaknesses, my failures, my shortcomings, my things that I'm trying to develop into world-class gifts and strengths. I'm more comfortable in what I bring to the table. And boldness, I don't feel like necessarily has to come across as this, my specific personality, which is, I have a big personality. I think boldness can come across in any personality. Absolutely. I know it can. I've seen it. Boldness can come out from, I feel like it will be a natural spring, a natural birth, a natural extension of you continuing to grow and change and embracing and owning your own emotional growth journey. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know. Hey man, I think Noble's on track here. I think he's right on. Or maybe I'm missing something. Man, tell me. Let me know. If you have different thoughts, different perspectives on that, would love to hear your thoughts on that. Again, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on a review on the podcast, whatever podcast platform you're listening on, And again, please and thank you so much for those of y'all that have rated, reviewed, shared maybe a particular episode that has been impactful for you. If you know someone else that's wanting to work on their boldness, this may be a great episode to share with them. Maybe there's one of the previous episodes that you've really gotten some value from. Please share that as well. I just want to help other people get healthier emotionally because of how my life is changing, how God is changing my life as a result of me finally, after decades of stuffing and avoiding, I'm finally owning and embracing and taking responsibility for my emotions and feelings. And man, it's crazy how these areas of my life are changing. And again, if you want to hear my actual proof of growth, like actual results, actual transformation, actual tangible changes and outcomes and results, listen to the last few episodes of the podcast. Remember, unaddressed emotions do not get better over time. They actually compound. And emotionally healthy people help heal other people emotionally. If you want more information, check out eqforentrepreneurs.com/training. eqforentrepreneurs.com/training. Also, be prepared. Be prepared. Okay, this is new. This is like fresh off the press, y'all. We are going to be going through a rebrand. So I'm not going to share what that rebrand is yet, but we will be going through a rebrand here. And I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be awesome, but just be patient with us. And I just want to plant that seed. I know sometimes there may be different personalities, different levels of emotional healthiness, have different degrees of emotional agility and their ability to change. And so I'm just giving you all a heads up that is something that we will be doing possibly even within the next 30 to 60 days. So just emotionally, mentally be preparing yourself. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this journey with us. We're so excited to see and hear your own results of transformation and change in your life, and hopefully in every area of your life, not just personally, but also professionally as well.